to just talk about it, but you really have to see it to believe it, and it really is about an experience. So when we think about like how we convey our
throwing you off here.
Thinking about how we convey our work. So it's not just about talking at people, it's about conveying an experience, emotion, the feeling of really being in a place. And we got some of that yesterday when people were telling their stories about being in Sudan or being growing up in a foster home or different stories from the front line. But thinking about how we can complement those narratives and thinking about different ways we can tell a story, virtual reality or VR is one of those tools that we have. And so it's a really great tool for us to be able to give people an experience that might otherwise be too costly, might be too risky, might be too dangerous, or otherwise just impossible to do unless you brought people to a place, maybe to a rural location that you want to show people. So VR is a way to do that, and so there's a lot of affordances of this technology that you can use in your work. And so we want to give you a sense of that today. And so I encourage you, as you're trying the demos that we have, and the different technologies, to think about how it could be used in your own work. Think about what is important to you about demonstrating, if you're trying to convey some of the challenges that you deal with in your... Okay.
This is not the community room, is it? I'm sorry.
No, the community room's on the other side.
Okay.
So we can use it not just for entertainment. So VR has started to get in the news recently because of gaming applications, but we're really thinking about it and how we can use it for... Oh, come on in. You don't want to block the entrance. Yeah. Come on into the center of the room. Make room for everybody. Yeah, so that's just a little bit of a taste, but we want to make sure we have lots of time for you to try things. Anyway, so we are all from RTI International. It's Research Triangle Institute, and we're an independent nonprofit institute, and our mission is translating research into practice and delivering the promise of science for global good. So that's part of what we're trying to do, and how we're thinking about ways technologies can do that. So at RTI, I'm a research analyst, and we have started a virtual reality lab there. So we can go around and do introductions. Have the rest of our team here. So.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm also part of the Flores team in the virtual reality lab.
Hey, I'm Ellen Thomas. I'm a food safety scientist at RTI. And over in this area, we'll be showing you a training platform. And this was, since I'm a food safety person, we designed a choose your own adventure style. The user progresses through a scenario and answers questions and makes decisions. And we used, we'll be talking about a few different applications of VR in this workshop. This one specifically uses 360-degree video, which Tyler is so effectively displaying on his hat. So this inputs 360-degree videos into the scenario, and you can have the ability to look around in the actual environment, hopefully provide a more engaging and more entertaining and hopefully more training that lasts longer than quite practical.
So my name's Tyler Waring. I'm a software developer, mainly geography. And so there's a nice intersection between capturing panoramic imagery, such as this camera on this little hat tripod. We can use that in different ways in geography to bring up information, situational information, and we're using the same technology in the food safety application.
And I'm Nathan Ring. I am with RTI's Drone Lab, and I'm a pilot for RTI's UAV operations, and I'm a certified pilot as well. And here I will have some of the footage that we've been shooting with UAVs at RTI, and kind of some theory-based technology that we're putting together for helping people buildings and infrastructure around people with disabilities and inclusive design.
Can you tell the group a little bit more about how drones and VR can be used together?
Yeah, so kind of one of the things that we're looking at is adding UAV technology to virtual reality and creating 3D map databases that people with disabilities can look at and kind of review a trip. Kind of like when somebody creates an itinerary, or somebody that doesn't have, somebody's not wheelchair bound, they know that they can get from point A to point B with very little issue. Well, we want to map out areas, say New York City or even just here, that would allow somebody to use VR and VR technology to sit at home and go from point A to point B and know before they actually go whether or not where they're going is accessible to them. There's a lot of things that we don't think about that engineers and builders don't think about, and they're designing their buildings. And now in 2017, that really excludes a lot of people who are stuck in wheelchairs and who are, having issues just getting to the grocery store, things like that. And I think VR and UAVs can help in those areas. So that's kind of what we're doing.
And then the other thing that we have to show you today is the Oculus Rift. And so this is immersive VR that is, the graphics are higher quality than what you might see on a mobile device. But this is a tool that we use in our research, in addition to some of the training and accessibility examples that you guys brought up. You can also use it for research to look at how different parts of a person's environment might affect their behavior. And what we can also do with that is change different things in the virtual environment, because we have complete creativity and control over that. We can create something where maybe somebody's in the bottom of the ocean or something. We don't do that for our social science research, but you can put somebody in outer space, somewhere that they couldn't go normally. And so we can create these things and explore, for example, okay, what's the impact of the way that a doctor talks about something with their patient? What about the different things in the environment, different posters, different materials that we might give them? How does that affect their behavior? Or what if we give an intervention to somebody, and educational intervention, or we do something, and then maybe we want to test out how that affects their behavior, and we want to measure that in a really precise way. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with self-report surveys where you ask people, okay, did you do this, or do you intend to change your behavior in this way? But an advantage of VR in research is that you can actually have someone in an environment and say, okay, well, let's say it's something about healthy eating. Are you going to eat fruits and vegetables? Everyone says yes. But maybe put them in a virtual buffet restaurant and see what they pick out. What I'll be Corey's going to help show today is an application on the Oculus that we've developed to look at doctor and patient communication, because that's one of the areas that we work in. And it's a virtual experience where I want you to, when you try it, I want you to imagine that you're a parent of a young child, if you are already, and you've been invited to be part of a genetic testing program. And so you're going to meet with a genetic counselor. She's going to tell you a little bit more about that. So you're going to be there with her and able to hear what she has to say. So we have that. And we have Tyler and Ellen's 360 food safety training. We've got Nathan's drone work and assistive technology. And also on this back table, we've got HoloLens and some other mobile-based VR things that we can show you. So now I'm just, let's see, do we need to talk about anything else before we sort of go? Okay. And before we sort of get started with all of our activities, do we have any questions for anyone? Okay, I guess everyone's excited to try it, so that's perfect. Okay, so feel free to explore. Set you all loose.